Helo, a chroeso I sylfaen Uned 4, taswn ni'n gyfoethog. Yn yr uned hon, dyn ni'n mynd I edrych ar mynegi dymuniad neu fwriad, expressing a wish or an intention. In order to do this, we're going to be using the conditional. Baswn I, I would. Here are the forms of the conditional. Baswn I would. Base ti, you would. Base fe, base he, she, or it would. Base ni, we would. Base chi, you would. And base nhw, they would. In the first sentences in the unit, we're going to be putting verbs after baswn I. We're going to be saying baswn i'n hoffi, I would like. Baswn i'n gweithio, I would work. Baswn i'n redeg, I would run. And baswn i'n mynd, I would go. After saying baswn I plus a verb, we're going to be adding taswn i'n gallu, if I could. Here are the forms of taswn I with different people. Taswn i'n gallu, if I could. Tase ti'n gallu, if you could. Tase fe, tase hi'n gallu, if he, she, or it could. Tase ni'n gallu, if we could. Tase chi'n gallu, if you could. And tase nhw'n gallu, if they could. Edrychwn ni ar y brawddegau ar tudalen 30. Let's have a look at the sentences on page 30. Baswn i'n hoffi mynd i'r cinema heno. I would like to go to the cinema tonight. Baswn i'n hoffi mynd i'r cinema. Taswn i'n gallu. I would like to go to the cinema, if I could. Baswn i'n gweithio mewn ysgol. Taswn i'n gallu. I would work in a school, if I could. Baswn i'n redeg marathon. Taswn i'n gallu. I would run a marathon, if I could. Baswn i'n mynd ar wyliau yfory. Taswn i'n gallu. I would go on holiday tomorrow, if I could. Ailadroddwch, repeat. Baswn i'n hoffi mynd i'r cinema heno. Baswn i'n hoffi mynd i'r cinema heno. Baswn i'n hoffi mynd i'r cinema. Taswn i'n gallu. Baswn i'n hoffi mynd i'r cinema. Taswn i'n gallu. Baswn i'n gweithio mewn ysgol. Taswn i'n gallu. Baswn i'n gweithio mewn ysgol. Taswn i'n gallu. Baswn i'n redeg marathon. Taswn i'n gallu. Baswn i'n redeg marathon. Taswn i'n gallu. Baswn i'n mynd ar wyliau yfory. Taswn i'n gallu. Baswn i'n mynd ar wyliau yfory. Taswn i'n gallu. In the next set of sentences, we're going to be looking at the question, fase ti. To make a question, we have to mutate at the start, a soft mutation. So base ti, you would. Fase ti, would you? Let's have a look at the questions. Fase ti'n hoffi mynd I weld opera, tase ti'n gallu? Would you like to go and see an opera, if you could? Fase ti'n gweithio mewn ysgol, tase ti'n gallu? Would you work in a school, if you could? Fase chi'n redeg marathon, tase chi'n gallu? Would you run a marathon, if you could? Fase chi'n mynd ar wyliau yfory, tase chi'n gallu? Would you go on holiday tomorrow, if you could? The answer to all these questions is baswn, yes, and na faswn, no. So fasa ti'n hoffi mynd I weld opera tasa ti'n gallu? Baswn or na faswn is the yes or no answer. Ailadroddwch, repeat. Fasa ti'n hoffi mynd I weld opera tasa ti'n gallu? Fasa ti'n hoffi mynd I weld opera tasa ti'n gallu? Fasa ti'n gweithio mewn ysgol tasa ti'n gallu? Fasa ti'n gweithio mewn ysgol tasa ti'n gallu? Fasa chi'n rhedeg marathon tasa chi'n gallu? Fasa chi'n rhedeg marathon tasa chi'n gallu? Fasa chi'n mynd ar wyliau fory tasa chi'n gallu? Fasa chi'n mynd ar wyliau fory tasa chi'n gallu? And remember, the answer to all these questions is baswn, yes, na faswn, no. In the next sentences, at the bottom of page 30, we're going to be looking at the he, she, we, you, and they forms. A couple of them are questions, and there's a negative in there as well. Let's look at the sentences. Tasa Tara yn ymddeol, basa hi'n symud tŷ. If Tara retired, she would move house. Tasa Tara yn torheilo, basa hi'n llosgi. If Tara sunbathed, she would burn. And here's a question. Tasa Non yn trio nofio, fasa hi'n suddo. If Non tried swimming, would she sink? Tasa Lewis yn trio'r prawf gyrru, fasa fe ddim yn pasio. If Lewis tried the driving test, he wouldn't pass. Tasa ni'n clywed joke, basa ni'n chwerthin. If we heard a joke, we would laugh. Tasa ni'n ymddeol, basa ni'n teithio. If we retired, we would travel. And here's another question. Tasa chi'n trio sgio, fasa chi'n cwmpo. If you tried skiing, would you fall? And finally, tasa nhw'n gweld ffilm drist, fasa nhw ddim yn llefen. If they saw a sad film, they wouldn't cry. Ailadroddwch, repeat. Tasa Tara yn ymddeol, basa hi'n symud tŷ. Tasa Tara yn ymddeol, basa hi'n symud tŷ. Tasa Tara yn torheilo, basa hi'n llosgi. Tasa Tara yn torheilo, basa hi'n llosgi. Tasa Non yn trio nofio, fasa hi'n suddo. Tasa Non yn trio nofio, fasa hi'n suddo. Tasa Lewis yn trio'r prawf gyrru, fasa fe ddim yn pasio. Tasa Lewis yn trio'r prawf gyrru, fasa fe ddim yn pasio. Tasa ni'n clywed joc, basa ni'n chwerthin. Tasa ni'n clywed joc, Basen ni'n chwerthin. Tasen ni'n ymddeol, basen ni'n teithio. Tasen ni'n ymddeol, basen ni'n teithio. Tasech chi'n trio sgïo, fasech chi'n cwmpo. Tasech chi'n trio sgïo, fasech chi'n cwmpo. Tasen nhw'n gweld ffilm drist, fasen nhw ddim yn llefen. Tasen nhw'n gweld ffilm drist, fasen nhw ddim yn llefen. Ar dudalen 32, on page 32, we've got some more verbs to be used with baswn ni. We've got baswn ni'n coginio, I would cook. Baswn ni'n talu, I would pay. Baswn ni'n aros, I would stay. And baswn ni'n ffonio, I would phone. This time, even though we're saying baswn ni, I would, we're saying tase amser gyda fi. If I had time, or literally if there were time with me. With tase blank gyda fi, the person comes at the end. Tase amser gyda fi, if I had time. Tase amser gyda ti, if you had time. Tase amser gyda fe neu hi, if he or she had time. Tase amser gyda ni, if we had time. Tase amser gyda chi, if you had time. And tase amser gyda nhw, if they had time. Ail adroddwch, repeat. Baswn ni'n coginio, tase amser gyda fi. Baswn ni'n coginio, tase amser gyda fi. Baswn ni'n talu, tase arian gyda fi. Baswn ni'n talu, tase arian gyda fi. Baswn ni'n aros, tase gwaith gyda fi. Baswn ni'n aros, tase gwaith gyda fi. Baswn ni'n ffonio, tase rif gyda fi. Baswn ni'n ffonio, tase rif gyda fi. The final four sentences on page 32 are he, she, we, and they sentences. Note the tasai always stays the same, and again we change the person at the end. Basa fe'n coginio, tase amser gyda fe. He would cook if he had time. Basa hi'n talu, tase arian gyda hi. She would pay if she had money. Basa ni'n aros, tase gwaith gyda ni. We would stay if we had work. And basa nhw'n ffonio, tase rif gyda nhw. They would phone if they had the number.